Happy Wednesday, everybody, on this festive day here at KOXC. It's Brownwood Lions Coach Show. I am Derek Stuckley, along with Brownwood Lions head football coach, athletic director Sammy Burnett, and his special guest, which we will introduce here in a little bit. How you doing today, Coach?
Boy, I am so good I can't stand it.
Well, that's good to know. Why are you so good today?
Just because I woke up this morning and it's all good.
It's all good.
I've been reading all the stuff about Mike Leach and all that, and sort of puts things in perspective.
That's true. That's true. So did you have any encounters with Coach Leach? It seems everybody did.
It seems like everybody did. No, I did not. I sure didn't, but I was a fan of his, that's for sure. He was outside the box. He's extremely smart. Played it awful lot with his humor, but the man knew how to build relationships with kids, and he's taken a lot of programs that weren't successful and turned them into quality programs. And if you look at his lineage, all the guys that coached underneath him that he taught the system to, and I think he learned his system from Hal Mummy, and then he spread that to look at all the guys in the ranks right now that are successful because of him. So he's left his mark, but left this world a little early.
Yes. I actually met him when he was in Brownwood once during the Casey Paha, Kenny Vaquero era.
I could understand why.
He was here recruiting in Coach Freeman's office. I was up there to interview Coach Freeman, and he was sitting there
I can understand why he'd want to see those two.
Yeah, he came out, and I said hi. He said hi, and that was about it.
Should have asked him a question. He'd have answered it in a profound way.
That's
sure.
true. That's true. That's true. But
what is that? A disco ball or a soccer ball that's behind us?
Oh,
It looks like a Socko disco ball.
I thought it was
disco soccer ball.
Christmas ornament.
Oh.
Anyway,
Might
you
be.
can hang that from a tree. You don't know. All right, so let's talk some Brownwood Lions and Lady Lions sports here. I guess let's start with basketball. They were both in action earlier this week.
Yeah, the girls went to Burnett, or played Burnett at home, sorry. I missed that game. I watched the JV freshmen. The freshman team won 56-6, which was a good showing. Got to see the JV play. I think they lost by a couple. Had to leave early. Had a board meeting. We had recognition of some young men on the football team for the awards that they received. That was a neat deal with them. And then so I missed the girls' game, but they dropped that game 63-40, I think it was. I got to see Burnett Lady Bulldogs before. They had a couple girls that were really tall, so I knew that would probably give us problems. And they have a good basketball team at the varsity level, so they weren't successful. But, Coach Hortz is optimistic and really is liking what their girls are doing. We're out a couple of girls to some injuries, but they keep plugging along. On the boys' side, the same way. They're still got some guys banged up. Ike Hall's still banged up, and so is Thad Hines, and both those guys are needed, for those guys to go out there and go through the rotations and be successful. And they're both pretty good athletes and good basketball players. They dropped their match last night to Abilene Cooper. They traveled over there. Both of them will be in action on Friday. The girls will be at Springtown taking on the Lady Porcupines, and the boys will host Abilene High here, which should be a good basketball game. Abilene High is very athletic. Got some good kids in the programs right now, so that's going to be a good test for our boys. And on the soccer side of things, I'm not going to say too much about that because we got the legend here. Coach Mosqueda is going to talk to us about the girls program. Excited. She's very excited, and we're excited to see those girls in action and kick their season off. They have one more scrimmage on Friday. They'll be at Abilene Wiley at 4 o'clock. But like I said, I'm going to let her speak a little bit more about that. Our JV and freshman boys will be in Glen Rose on Saturday in a little tournament over there. So that's the action for the week. She did scrimmage Snyder yesterday and was successful 3-1. But like I said, I'll let her get in more detail about that, and excited to let y'all hear her excitement that she brings.
Let's go ahead and jump right into soccer. If you would like to introduce your special guest today, sir.
Yes, Coach Mosqueda is a Brownwood girl, played in Brownwood. She's got a lot. I told you before, she's very bubbly. She's got a great personality, man. She makes everybody smile, not just her kids, but her peers. Has a great attitude, does a great job in the classroom, and all that translates to her girls out on the soccer field. They're fun to watch. They're very excited. They're well coached, and they have high expectations. So our girls soccer coach, Alexis Mosqueda.
Well, thank you for the introduction.
You're quite welcome. You see my shirt?
Yeah, I got him a shirt.
It's a good-looking shirt, isn't it?
Looks so good.
We also saw you a lot during football season on the sideline. You want to
I
talk about that a
was.
little bit before we jump into soccer?
So I was the Lion Crew sponsor this year, and I was also the cheer sponsor this year. So I got my well worth in the fall sports
Very supportive always.
Very
always
supportive.
very
You're
supportive.
everywhere.
The long road trips to Odessa, Midland, all of them. We were all there.
Yeah, they
Hey,
sure were.
don't forget Andrews.
Yeah, I know.
Can't forget Andrews.
How could I forget?
All right, well, let's start talking a little soccer. Let's start with your scrimmages and your thoughts on yesterday and then last week's scrimmage.
So we've had 2 scrimmages. The first one was against Alvarado. The second one yesterday was obviously against Snyder. Both of them were what I believe were good opponents. They made long runs in the playoffs last year, and our girls did well. We had a lot of good takeaways, and we had some things that there's always improvements that we can work on. But we're returning 9 of our 11 starters this year. So I believe we're in a position to be very successful this year, and that's what I expect from the girls. I continue to tell them that every single day, and those are our expectations.
Of course, obviously, very experienced team this year. I guess what are the biggest strengths of the group other than experience?
They've been playing together, I think, since they were 3 or 4 years old, and that's what I have told them going into each game. You have the experience together. You know how you play on the field together, and it should translate in every single game that we play, I believe. Wiley will be a good testament this Friday because they're 5A, and they always have a good ball club over there. And I'm looking forward to see what we can do over there in Wiley.
Who are some of the girls keep an eye on this year, Phil?
We have 5 seniors, so those seniors will be Kennedy Johnson, Adelie Constancio.
Put you on the spot. You
Yeah.
got 3 more.
I got 3 more. I have Briley Thompson, Ibis Alvarado, and, oh man,
It's tough, isn't it?
yes, it is tough.
5 seniors.
5 seniors.
That's what
Kennedy.
happens to me. I go to the banquet and I have a list of my kids that I've coached forever, and I look at them like, "What's your name?"
What's your name?
When you get put on the spot, Stokely, it's a little difficult.
Yeah. Well, we'll move on to the next question.
When she's driving
Yeah.
home,
I'll be like, oh my
afternoon,
gosh,
she's
that's,
like,
yes.
We'll go.
We have lots of good returners this year, and all of them have played at the varsity level, so I expect good things from all of them.
All right. So new district this year, larger district this year. So talk about that a little bit.
We went from a 4-team district to a 7-team district. We're now in a district with Stephenville, who was in our district last year, Stephenville, Salado, China Spring, Lampasas, Gatesville, Little River Academy, and us. So it is a lot larger, but it gives us more competition. And last year, Stephenville was obviously our toughest competition, and it was hard translating from someone who wasn't as competitive then going into a Stephenville game. So this year, we'll have more competition going into Stephenville and should give us a better look at, what is to come. Because Stephenville is obviously the top runner.
So it's been a long time since we've actually had to win a district game to get into the playoffs.
Right.
So
So
just
now
how,
we have a little bit of a...
yeah. So just how important, how different is it to actually have to earn the playoff spot opposed to knowing you're going to be in the playoffs regardless?
That's what I've been telling the girls every single time we step on the field for scrimmages and for practice. This year it's not given to us. We have to go out there and we have to perform in the way that we know that we can play. We have to do that on the field every single Tuesday and Friday night.
I guess early part of the season, of course, you don't have that many games before district starts, but what do you want to see out of the girls before district?
Well, last night I had continued to talk to them about our goals for when we get to district. Everything counts, goals against, goals for us. So those are the big things that we go into whenever we start our games. We have to hold that shutout in the defense, and we have to get as many points on the board as possible to give us that place for playoffs, looking to go into it. We need those points on the board, and that's really what I want the girls to realize as we're going into this pre-district.
Okay. Of course, y'all still have some scrimmages. When's the regular season opener?
It's January 2nd or 3rd, that Tuesday that we come back from
Okay.
Christmas break.
All righty. So I guess last question as far as the overall season goes, how good can the girls be this year, and what do they have to do to realize that potential?
They have to realize it within themselves. They have to start playing for each other on the field, and this group is real special to me, the senior group, because they've been here since I've been here, and to see them grow and continue to work together, it's been very special. So just playing for each other on the field instead of selfishly, and realizing that they can do hard things, and with God anything is possible, and everything I preach to them every single day. As long as we have what the main focus is, glorifying him on the field. That's going to win us ball games as long as we continue to work hard and continue to work for each other on the field.
All right. Anything else you want to mention about the girls or the season or soccer in general? The World Cup? Are you watching the World Cup?
I am watching the World Cup. I'm excited for this Saturday. Or Sunday. What is it, Sunday?
I don't know.
I think it's Sunday. It's Sunday.
I'm not watching it, so I'll take your word for it.
I think it's Sunday. I'm just excited to be in Brownwood and to work under this one and to work under Heather Hoare too. I was under whenever I was in high school. It's just it's so great to be back in Brownwood, and I love being here, and I love the girls I get to work with every single day, and the community that always backs us. I mean, we're having scrimmages, and Gordonwood has so many fans in it, and it makes me happy to see all the people out there supporting our girls.
Good deal. Well, thanks for coming in. Good luck this week or this season. Anything else you want to say about Coach Musqueda?
Yeah, you know, you can just listen to her and tell that she's bubbly. You know, I don't lie. So you can tell she's bubbly. She got great energy. She has great messages for the girls. You know, speaking on what she talked about with points scored and allowed and that kind of stuff, and I do the same thing with the guys. You know, everything you do has a purpose. Every point, every play has a purpose, and you play every play like your last one because you never know, and you can't ever relinquish your desire to finish. And when you get in a district that has multiple teams like she has with 7 teams, if it ever comes down to a tiebreaker, those points scored and points allowed are big when it comes to tiebreakers and things like that. So regardless if you're up in a game or if you're down, you still got to focus because there's a greater purpose. And if you ever stump your toe or in a position where you need those points, it's important you focus on that. You know, I learned that. I didn't learn it. I knew it, but I didn't relay it to our kids like I should have. If you reflect back to our first year here, we were playing China Spring in district, and we had an opportunity to finish second or third in the district. And we were actually up in the game at half and scored coming out of the half, and our kids sort of let down a little bit. And as kids would do with the lead in, we lost the momentum, and they came back and actually won the game. And we gave them a touchdown at the end that was just really not worth anything for the game results, but it had a lot of bearing on where it put us in the playoffs, and we dropped from at least third position to the fourth position because of the points that were allowed, and it cost us to play, you know, defending state finalist team in the first round of playoffs. And I learned my lesson, not just you know it and have the knowledge of that, but you got to project that to the kids, and they got to understand every situation. And start to finish, you got to complete the game. And I learned the hard way, not sharing that with the kids. So it's nice to, you know, to know that it's not just myself that learned that lesson, but Coach Musqueda is already sharing that with her girls and making sure that they have a focus and understand that everything has a purpose. You know, it's a new district for them. You know, I was looking at that district yesterday. It's exciting, you know, for those girls to play different opponents instead of playing the same couple of teams. And the same thing, they've done well in their 14 district. They've earned their opportunities to go to the playoffs. If there had been multiple teams in that district that would have had a chance of not playing, we still would have been successful in the playoffs. So that wasn't a concern. But, you know, knowing that you got to win those ball games and have an opportunity to play teams that you hadn't played in a while other than Stephenville, you get just a different, it's just a fresher experience, and it's nice to go play teams that you maybe haven't played before. It's excitement, but it also brings that sense of urgency of the unknown. I don't really know them as well. I haven't played them in the past, so we really got to be focused and play our top game, and I think it brings out the best in all of them.
Yeah. Definitely looking forward to what y'all do this season. Ready for January to get here.
Me too.
Should be nice and 20 degrees when
Right.
regular
Always
season
is,
starts.
and with the light mist
Yeah.
Right.
All
or
right.
downpour.
Well, let's talk a little state football. State football championships started today. We talked about some of that Monday. Is there any game in particular that you're kind of interested in keeping an eye on?
Well, of course, 4A Division I is a game that I'll watch and be focused on. But I really enjoy, I mean, for me, I've been at all levels from 6A to 2A. I like them all, but I really find a lot of joy watching the 2A, big school 2A, 3A, and 4A schools. Those are the ones I really enjoy. I'll watch the 5A Division II, but when you start getting into 5A Division I and the 6A schools, I mean, they have so many kids and so much talent out there. You know, as a coach, your job is basically get them on the bus, let them go do what they do. But it's always a joy for me to watch those smaller schools that have kids playing positions that you know that you had to teach them to play and they had to learn to play. And your coaches coach a lot harder and are extremely knowledgeable in what they do because they have to coach both sides of the ball. and they have to, take a kid that may not play that position and be successful. I was sitting one time talking to the athletic director at Allen, who was a friend of mine. He's retired now, but I was at Farmersville, and at one time Farmersville and Allen were in the same district. They're the same size, and he told me, he said, Sam, you know what the difference between Allen and Farmersville is? He said, in Farmersville, if you lose your starting right tackle, you're going to put a kid in there that you've coached up and got him to believe that he could play that position. He's going to go play that position. In Allen, Texas, if you lose a starting right tackle that's a Division I athlete, you replace him with another Division I athlete. He says that's the difference. So I really have a good time watching the development of smaller school programs and things like that. So I really focus on the 3A and 4A teams in the state championship, because you got a group of guys out there that have just molded themselves into what their coaches want them to be, and to find their fit on teams. And it's a little bit different when you watch those big 6A schools and they're marching out, 11 offensive players that look like small college players or big college players, and then they march out of defense, and then every special teams has different kids on them. So it's more like a small college to those big schools. And I enjoy watching those games too, but it's just a little bit different. I like watching the smaller schools get after it.
Me too. I think when you get to the point where you got more than one high school in a town, it kind of loses
a lot of luster.
something,
There's
yeah.
not as much loyalty. I've said this many times. I've been to a lot of deep run big school games and watched them at stadiums, and have gone to 3A school games in the playoffs and seen more people in the stands at the 3A schools than you see at the 6A schools, just because there's so many schools, there's not as much loyalty. So I think has a lot to do with the culture of your programs and all that when you're at a one-school town. I've never had the desire to coach in a multi-school town, and it just reflects back on what Coach Mosqueda said. Brownwood's an awesome place. I mean, we got one school. We have more support probably than anywhere. I've been doing it for 30 years, and I've been at some great places, but we have more support here throughout all of our sports. Girls, if you go to a girls' basketball game, look how many people in the stands. You go to a girls' soccer game, you look how many people in the stands. Go to a softball game and see how many people in the stands. And then the same thing on the boys' side. Our fans come out and support it. Doesn't matter what time of the year. They love seeing our kids being active. They love seeing our kids being successful. They love seeing the programs that our coaches are putting in place, and they want their kids to see that and be a part of that too in the future. So we couldn't be in a better place than Brownwood, Texas, and that's why we're both back. We're both Brownwood people. We love the experience that we had in athletics and are thankful for that. It's the foundation that we use to teach our kids today, and we're both extremely blessed to be back.
Very well said.
Thanks.
And if anybody wants to watch the state football games, they're on Valleys, if you can find that anywhere.
Only way you're going to get it is if you have DirecTV and you have that package, or you have to buy the app for $20 a month. So we're going to
Well, there you go.
figure out a way to watch it.
Yeah, there's your insight.
Or you got to go to AT&T
Well, that
Stadium.
too, yeah.
Right.
I think I'd rather just buy the app.
I would too. This is the first year in probably 20 years I haven't been to the stadium to watch games, but I just sort of wanted to sit at home and with some coaches and some buddies of mine and just watch it here with them. So that's what I'm going to do.
All right. Well, anything else you want to mention?
Yeah, we better thank those that make this show possible. Of course, Auto Glass Magic, Bruner Auto Group, Syntex Body and Paint, Syntex Equipment Sales, Citizens National Bank, Dan Hill Containers, Dr. Bon Young, Dr. Pepper Bottling Company, Edward Jones Investments, Hendrick Medical, Howard Enterprises, Huntford Pete's, Heartland Funeral Home, Landmark Life, MC Bank, Painter Johnson Associates, Smith & Sharp Agency, Sonic Drive-In, Stanley Chrysler, Texas Bank, Weldon Wilson Electric, Western Bank, and Willie's Teas.
All right. That'll wrap up today's show. We will be back here Monday on KOXE, KOXE.com, the KOXE app, and the KOXE Facebook pages.
Have a great day, Brownwood.